现在加入我们的是美国之音的华府特派记者 Jessica Stone。Jessica 呢要为我们带来从美国华府对台湾总统大选的独家观察。Welcome, Jessica. Thank you for being with us today.
Hello, good to be with you.
So, Jessica, regarding Taiwan's upcoming presidential election, I'd like to know that the KMT's presidential candidate, Hou You-yi, has just concluded his visit to the United States. Could you please share with us your observations from Washington, D.C.?
That's right. He spent 8 days here in the United States in total, and he took his 3 Ds really on the road. He met with 11 U.S. lawmakers on Capitol Hill and had a series of private meetings here in Washington. You know, U.S. politicians are very hesitant to take sides in the Taiwanese election or any other international election for that matter because they consider it a domestic matter, but they did very willingly meet with Mr. Ho, and there is bipartisan support for building additional Taiwanese defense. We had a hearing this week on that matter, and there continues to be a lot of activity on Capitol Hill and giving the Taiwanese more defense capabilities to counter Chinese aggression. Ho also spoke this week at a conservative think tank here in Washington called the Heritage Foundation, and a scholar there told us that his focus was that he got very tough questions, rather, from the audience there, and he did share his perspective also on U.S.-Taiwan relations, which, of course, is paramount to a U.S. audience. In an article in Foreign Affairs magazine, he said that building up Taiwan's defense is paramount and that dialogue with Beijing is crucial to de-escalate tensions across the strait.
We also note that Mike Gallagher, chair of the U.S. House of Representatives Select Committee on the Strategic Competition between the U.S. and the CCP, he has suggested that under increasingly challenging circumstances, Xi Jinping might become more adventurous and unpredictable. He even pointed out that the period immediately after next year's January election could be the most dangerous time for cross-strait relations. Are there any new actions being considered in the U.S. Congress to support Taiwan given these assessments? Jessica.
Well, it's really an ongoing conversation and one I've definitely seen in person be escalated over the last year or so. We're seeing a lot of congressional chatter, if you will, about the state of Taiwan's defense, particularly because the U.S. still has $19 billion of Taiwanese defense contracts that it needs to deliver on. And U.S. Congress held a hearing this week on that. You know, under the Taiwan Relations Act, the U.S. is required to ensure that Taiwan can defend itself. So this is where the U.S. really has a stake in Taiwan's future defense-wise. Some Republican lawmakers are arguing that Joe Biden and his administration has not been forceful enough in helping to arm Taiwan and that the military sales program overall is broken, and particularly the defense procurement process. But the Biden administration counters that they have authorized almost $6 billion in Taiwan arms sales in a year, the largest single-year number. There is also broad agreement that defense contractors need to speed up production.
We haven't provided the multi-year appropriation necessary to replenish our stockpiles. Our defense industrial base has become very concentrated, it's very brittle, and we need to rebuild that. That's one of the lessons of the war in Ukraine, and we haven't learned it yet.
Jasmine, a more immediate problem now is that the U.S. Congress is poised to need to pass funding for the U.S. government by September 30th, just a matter of days away. If they do not reach that deadline with funding for the U.S. government, any weapons deliveries to Taiwan would also be further delayed. Back to you.
Definitely, Jessica, will be looking close to that deadline. Thank you so much, Jessica, for joining with us and sharing with us your expertise today.
You bet.